Hey there, it's Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, and I want to talk to you about what everybody wants to know right now. Should you own Apple stock based on the earnings that were released on November 1st? Well, if we take a look at the chart, here's Apple over the past 5 years. Notice and follow me on this one. 5 years ago, you could have purchased these shares for around $80 per share. And over the last 5 years, with all the ups and downs in the market and the presidential election and all that has occurred, the shares have gone from $80 to about $222. So what you're really looking at right now is this price. Tyrone, should I own this stock right now at $222 per share? Well, we're going to break it down first by trend. But let me just point this out. $80,000 invested in Apple stock 5 years ago is now worth what? $222,000. But that doesn't tell you whether you should own in the future. So the first thing I want you to always pay attention to is the long-term trend, which is the 5-year trend. And then if we zoom in and we look at the stock a year, we notice that the stock has a tendency to rise. About a year ago, it was $168 a share, and again, it's at $222 a share. Year to date, throughout 2018, with all the ups and downs in the stock market, again, $172 a share. Stock is resting at what? This number right up here, $222 a share. Now, let's talk about Apple's biggest challenge for the CEO, Tim Cook, who inherited this company, of course, from Steve Jobs. His biggest challenge is basically not to invent anything new, but not to mess up the enterprise. So what happened in the fourth quarter, stated in the earnings in November 1st, Apple sold over 46 million new iPhones. Now that's good, except they raised the price. So the average ticket sales around $700, but yet they sold 46 million. The total revenue for Apple was over what? $62 billion in 13 weeks. Remember that that quarter is just representing the last 13 weeks. Those sales are up quarter over quarter, but where's Apple still seeing growth? They're seeing growth in the watch. There's still a small fan base for the watch. They sold more in the quarter. And where else? In things like not only the stock price, but also in Apple Care. All those services that you purchase, yes, they're seeing a rise in all of that, which is why the stock actually continues this upward trend. If we look just at the last 6 months, the market really likes Apple. The question is, even with $62 billion in sales and 46 million iPhones sold in the last 13 weeks, should you own the stock? Because that is the bottom line. That is the only thing that matters. You should own the stock, and look at this price right up here at $222 if you're looking for a stock to stabilize in your portfolio. In other words, on these kinds of earnings, this stock is probably going to go up over the next 3 to 6 months, maybe 20%. So 10% of 222 would be another $22, right? So I would add probably about another $40 a share, which takes the stock somewhere between 265 and 270. Right? So if you're looking for a stock that has absolutely greater growth, then Apple is not your candidate. But if you want to hold a stock that has a history of making money and has a history of the stock price rising, again, 5-year, 1 year, year to date, and 6 months, it has a tendency to rise over time. I would say this stock is good for about another what? $44 over the next year, which would be a 20% rise in the stock, unless, of course, Tim Cook introduces a brand new product line. And they really haven't been doing that since Tim Cook actually inherited the company. That's why the stock is a steady grower. Now, if you really want to know about the stocks that I like, that I think are the big growers in your account, then you want to join me over at thewealthyinvestor.net. Download my free ebook, because that's going to show you how to pick growth stocks, or you can follow me at WI Trade School, of course. So, the verdict on Apple, do I think it's a great stock? I think it's a great stock to own for the long term. It's a portfolio stabilizer. If you want stocks that are going to rise and do fantastic things to pull up the value of your account, I don't think Apple is that stock. Okay, so join me at thewealthyinvestor.net. Download the free ebook because I do think Apple also is a good covered call candidate if you want to sell calls and bring in income against the stock. Okay, so that's my report on Apple. A lot of numbers there, a lot of great divisions, but again, it's the company that you really want to hold for the long term, but it's not going to bring you the greatest growth. Do I think it's a great covered call candidate? It sure is. Hey, listen, sashay on over to thewealthyinvestor.net. Download the free Trading Stocks for Wealth ebook. You'll understand the power of covered call writing on Dow stocks in particular. And I'm trying to make it simple here. If you really want to make a lot of money in the stock market, you are going to need a financial education. And that means that you have to have the skills to dive deeper into what? Earnings like Apple. The best part I want to say about Apple, which I really do love, they have over $250 billion in cash. They can buy almost any other publicly traded company if they wanted to and increase their revenue. Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson from thewealthyinvestor.net. Thank you for taking time to follow this easy digest on Apple stocks, and I hope that you are poised to do very well in the stock market, not only as a stock market trader, but also as a stock market investor, with your primary strategy being what? Covered call writing. That is the best trade for for retail investors like you and I. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next go round.